Hello everybody and welcome back to episode 11 of my tutorial series for Dwarf Fortress. In this one, I'm going to go over well construction. So, fountains can be found here in the Machines and Fluids tab, and they will provide your fortress with fresh water. But it's a little bit finicky to get there, and in this video I'm going to introduce two different methods of building up a well. One relies on an aquifer, and the other one relies on some source of water that you can tap into. Either way, you will always need to procure water from somewhere to fetch yourself a well, be it now a body of water on your map or aquifers. Aquifers, especially light aquifers, are excellent for that task. Good. Gonna get started with the basics, what you require for your wells. You will require some sort of rope or chain, which can be either made at the clothier's workshop out of cloth or out of leather. No, I think yarn, sorry, not leather. Or you can forge it at the smithy. The other thing you will require is a bucket. So buckets are the most easily made out of wood, but should that be not possible out of any particular reason, you can also use every form of metal. It's a little bit costly, but it does the trick nevertheless. Okay, so here in this room, I want to have a well that is powered by an aquifer. So we're going to use this area here as our water reservoir, and the area around there as the walk around thing. I've already dug out a staircase down here, which will be kind of like our maintenance entrance for the entire project here. So the thing is quite easy. You go above the aquifer, there we go, and then you just dig down. But the thing here is, if we'd be just digging down like this would not do the trick. We would still have the ceiling between us and the pit that we want to excavate. So we need the channel command. So we're going to do this like that. And this will remove the floor on this end of the map. And as you see there, down there, what remains is a staircase of ramps. If you don't see those ramps, this is the hotkey to go for. So we need to redesignate these commands because they will be cancelled the moment they realize that you want to dig them into aquiferous soil. Okay, so now we have basically almost everything together that we need. Up here, I'm going to set up a couple of floorboards. And the well will go into the center. But this pit ain't deep enough yet. We will go just another level downstairs. The cool thing about fountains is they allow you to go as deep as you want to. A fountain has no real limit of how far he can pull water up. So this fountain could go 100 stories down, and the fountain would be still able to pick up that water, no biggie. So, we've now dug into that area here, more than enough, and the ramps will allow your dwarfs to go back upstairs. So, all this will now slowly fill up with water. Do this to your own liking. You can also go and make this whole thing larger. It's up to you. Anyways, what we now need as the last thing in the center is the well. But we're currently not capable of constructing that because there's empty space in between. But as soon as these blocks are placed, everything is good. So here are a couple of things that you need to know. First of all, a well needs to be at least 3 stories deep before your dwarfs will not complain about muddy water, because the lowest level will contain mud, and that will make the water unhealthy to drink. That's basically that. So make your wells accordingly deep. That's the first thing. Okay, so constructing this will be not too much of a big deal. We move on over to the next topic, but I need to force a couple of work orders I'll be right back in a hot second. There we go. So just in case you ever have this kind of problem as well, what has happened in my fortress was the issue that people were too busy hauling. You can temporarily remove that problem by enabling hauling only for a very limited few of dwarves, and in that time your people will start working on their other projects again, just as a side note. So the fountain does need a block, I forgot about that, a bucket and a rope and mechanisms. Jeez, my first introduction was incomplete as hell. Anyways, this will now work. Your dwarfs will pick that up as a water source, and if you limit their water sources, you might as well put this like that, just to make sure. Okay, so let's move on over to the river sourced technique. Here we need to be a little bit more careful. This will be our intake channel. As you can see, I'm locking this off already with the door. We will also need a bridge like this, which we will use just like we used it back there to cut off the water intake so we don't flood ourselves entirely. So now goes the same thing again. We do channel. Keep in mind that when you channel, if I designate it on this layer, it kills two layers, one on mine and one on top and one below. So going like this will carve out the layer below. If you assign too many, you can easily go too deep, just what happened here. So, just as a side note. Okay. Now here in this environment, of course, this pit will fill naturally because of the aquiferous nature of its environments. But we'll take that as a given for this one. You can use this method, of course, or you should even use this method, of course, for areas where you don't have an aquifer available and you need that river intake. So we're going to go one layer deeper, just for good measure. And now the goal is a very simple one. We just want to flood the chamber with river water, and that's that. So we have already pretty much set up the perimeter here. And what we now need to do is to take care that things don't go bad. So we're going to go and pave this and cancel that one. That's a nice little trick. Okay, so what'll happen here is the water will flow here into this area there, and then it will be wandering down there, and that's pretty much it. I'll be fast forwarding one more time until all these construction issues have been resolved. Alright, so now next step, we're going to link a lever, I prepared a few, to this bridge. You know the drill already. We want to be sure that we can turn this water intake on and off as we please. I'm going to forbid that door so we can make sure that nobody will blunder in there. And now linking this lever, we're going to make that a very important task. This way you can force your people to make things go faster. And we're, of course, building that fountain here already. So the rest of things is actually quite easy, and as soon as that mechanism has been linked, yeah, we can already go for it. So we're going to breach this thing right away. As you see here, there's only a small amount of water in the canal, so I don't mind doing this. It's not a big risk at all. So here we go. So water is now gushing in, and it's just using the rest of the water that we got here. So for the real deal, we need to pull that lever up here. And then we will fill the chamber. So the fill is one level deeper, just to make sure you don't accidentally flood your fortress with this. Because if we would make the intake on this level, it would also fill this chamber at some point, and then this tunnel, and then just the rest of the fortress, because it just does stop here. Whenever you work with water, make sure you control it accordingly. And now all we need to do is just to wait until this fountain chamber has filled. This is another really, really nice way how to do it. You know, when you're done, all you need to do is just get that bridge, put it back up, and that's that. And we are here also starting to build ourselves up a small-scale water network, which is also always really, really nice, because if we shut off this bridge here and that bridge there, we again have a canal of water that we can work with. We could even put a hatch on top of the staircase and make other things happen with that water. So I really like to stress out here at that point that it really pays off to think about what you want to do, or how you can control this thing from the first until the very last step. And I promise you, you will forget a few things, just as I did, and you will have fun with water, just because it has a lot of little things that will make your life wholesome and happy. Now, this is how you build fountains. These will be now used by your dwarves as their water sources, and that's all you need to know. Also, one last thing I wanted to go through: if your fortress has only salt water available, if you build a screw pump, we haven't used these yet, but I'm going to introduce them later in the series as well. If you use a screw pump, basically, if salt water enters the screw pump, it ends out desalinated and drinkable. So screw pumps are basically also desalination devices. So if you ever have the problem there, I really wanted to point that out. And as you can see here, the fountain is almost filled. And what I did forget to mention here is the water in the fountain uses up very, very, very slowly. So if you only feed your well via river, because you don't have an aquifer, you will have to refill it from time to time. Okay. Now, that's been a bit of a shorter episode this time, but this is basically the prelude and the preparation for our hospital episode. I'm sorry, I was just sidetracked because I just noticed that somebody out there is waiting for his artifact to be made. Also, I did forget to forbid this door. Don't forget that. You see, it's so easy to forget something, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. Now, we pulled that lever, and that's that. And next episode, I'm going to go over the library or the hospital. I haven't fully made up my mind yet in that regard, but you'll see when we get there. Leave me your comments down below if there are any questions, any cool things that I've forgotten, or something you might want to add into the topic. Feel free to. I'm always eager to learn something new. And a thumbs up and a subscription would be wildly appreciated, and consider checking out the descriptions in the links in the description box. There's tons of other Dwarf Fortress content going around there, and of course I want to thank again the supporters of the channel. You guys are amazing, and thanks for your constant support. Check out Patreon, PayPal, and Buy Me a Coffee if you want to join on in. They are also found in the description box. Alright, enough of the ad roll. Thanks for being still around here. I really appreciate you bearing through this with me, and I hope you'll be coming back for the next one as well. See you there, and have a good time.